What inspired you to become a teacher?
As a teacher, we are like the second parents because one parent might have one son or one daughter, but as teachers, like literally, I have 100 to 50 kids. I was a student who was extremely interested in science. I loved science, about physics, about chemistry, when things moved in and around. I loved everything. And I think that's how I landed up in teaching.
You love speaking. At a very young age itself, you loved speaking.
Right.
What made you a really good speaker?
Does a teacher have to be a really good speaker? The answer is yes and no. No. A person who has really good wisdom, who is an expert in the field that he is, if he doesn't know how to speak, I think that will still flow by. Speaking is the qualities of an extrovert person. I am an extremely introvert person.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to Muse Talks, where I'm your host Arf. Today we have with us Mr. Yaseen Manna, District President, SIO Udupi. He's also a lecturer by profession. We welcome you to the show, sir. So, Yaseen bhai, how are you doing, sir?
Alhamdulillah, all good. Everything seems good.
So, you being a lecturer,
Ji.
let's say teacher. Teacher is someone who plays a vital role in shaping a child or a student, right?
Okay.
So, most of the time, let's say more than the time a children or a student spends at his home, he spends in the colleges or in his schools,
Definitely.
right? So it's not an easy task for a teacher to shape a young mind. So you being a lecturer, what inspired you to become a teacher, sir?
I always keep saying this. As a teacher, we are like the second parents. More than the parents they themselves are, we play that responsibility more. Because one parent might have one son or one daughter, but as teachers, like literally, I have 100 to 50 kids. Though I'm not married, we have so many kids in that account. Now, what inspired me to become a teacher? I don't know how do I answer that to you, because teaching as a profession requires certain qualifications. When I began my journey, I was a student who was extremely interested in science. I loved science, about physics, about chemistry, when things moved in and around. I loved everything. But eventually there came the board examination, 10th. I didn't like science anymore. So I asked my friends in the underground, what should I take? Arts, commerce, science. They were like, definitely science. I said, I don't like science. Then go for commerce. I was like, why not arts? Because arts is not meant for people. And that's why I went into commerce. And then I did my graduation in commerce. Luckily, I had an enlightenment during my masters, where I finally switched into arts, into the
You did
arts
MA.
stream. I did my masters in MA in English. And I think that is one of the beautiful, good decisions of my life. And I did MA in English. Eventually, in that process, I realized one of the things that I truly loved was speaking. Like the way I'm talking to you now. Since childhood, I loved speaking. I loved being on stage, having a conversation with people, talking to kids in and around. So I was trying for that profession, which allowed me to speak, And there I came across something called as teaching. I used to be a part of SIO, as you were saying. I have been teaching kids in and around in ICC platforms. And then came that phase of my life where I had to select a profession, that is teaching, and they started to pay me. So when I started to speak, and I think that's how I landed up in teaching. And then it evolved from the comic sense and became more serious. But yes, that's how I began and I got into teaching.
Okay, then here when you spoke about teaching, some teaching which is something related to speaking,
Yes.
right? So you need to be a very good speaker in order to become a teacher, I feel, if I'm not wrong again. So you being a speaker, I mean, you love speaking, right?
Right.
At a very young age itself, you loved speaking.
Right.
What sparked your interest in speaking? Like, what made you a really good speaker?
Okay. Again, let me break that question into the first question and the second question. The first question, does a teacher have to be a really good speaker? The answer is yes and no. No, because there is something which can take over speaking quality. That is knowledge. If a teacher has really great amount of knowledge, then I don't think knowing how to speak becomes a barrier. Okay, so a person who has really good wisdom, who is an expert in the field that he is, if he doesn't know how to speak, I think that will still flow by. Now coming to the second question, what sparked my interest in speaking? So do I remember how it began? I don't know. But again, one thing, speaking is the qualities of an extrovert person. Okay, in the spectrum of introvert and extrovert, people who speak a lot are considered as extrovert people.
Okay.
I am an extremely introvert person.
All right.
It doesn't seem like, but yes, the organizational responsibilities, the profession made me that. But trust me, the only thing I don't want to do is I don't want to talk to people. But yes, there I am trying to speak. So trying to go back, where did it begin from? During childhood days, we used to participate in a lot of competitions here and there, speech competitions, Kannada, English, Hindi, and I think that's how slowly and steadily it piled up. Small habits turn into bigger ones. So little speaking. Now I speak a lot.
So, honestly speaking, there's a slight opinion difference, I feel. As you said, teacher need not to be a really good speaker. You said knowledge is something which overcomes a speaker. If a person is very knowledgeable, he has a very good amount of knowledge with him, right? He is an expert, he has philosophy, doctorate and all. But he doesn't know how to convey that knowledge. There comes the barrier, sir. I feel there comes the barrier. If a student doesn't understand what his teacher teaches, there comes the barrier. What's your take on that?
Right, maybe. Like, the thing is this, knowledge is something that you need to gain. And once you get into the profession, no matter which profession you get into, there are a few things that you learn day after day. So speaking is one of those habits. Once you become a teacher, slowly and steadily you are pushed into the classroom in front of 50, 60 students every day. So it's like that thing. Even if you don't want to, वो कहते हैं कि जिंदगी में ऐसे पहलू आते हैं जो आपको बहुत सारी चीजें सिखा देते हैं. In a teacher's life, speaking is one of it. If you are a good speaker by default, definitely students will have a really good impact. If you're not such a good speaker, slowly and steadily in the process of being a teacher, you become a good speaker.
It's just for a time being.
Yes. I think that will pass on. And everyone becomes good speakers.
Good answer though.
I'll take that.
So, Yaseen bhai, with the profession, for each profession there's a challenge.
Ji.
And it's pretty obvious though. Each and everyone knows that. So for the teacher also, it's not a easy task also.
Right.
When you have to handle a big amount of students and all. What are the key challenges that you felt in this profession and what are your key learnings out of it?
Challenges. To begin with the challenges, I think one of the biggest challenge that teachers face. Now, I don't say teachers in general, what I personally feel. I have just started my career. So when I sit here, just a disclaimer to the audience as well, when I sit here and when I talk to you, it doesn't mean I'm sharing all the gyan to you. It's been my third year into teaching and there is a little bit that I carry along with me. One of the biggest challenge that I felt was, what do you think a teacher is supposed to do?
Teach a student.
A teacher is supposed to teach the students. But in Indian context, unfortunately, teaching is like 25 to 30% of it. 70% is the academic work, like administrative work. For example, to do with the attendance, maintain records, evaluate papers every single day, and stuff in and around. I think that is one of the biggest challenge individually in the profession of teaching that I'm trying to overcome. Because you have that enthusiasm in you have that creativity in you want to do something, you want to go to the students, talk to them, but all of a sudden you're overburdened with all those responsibilities, all the additional work. I think that is one of the major challenge that as a teacher I'm supposed to face.
In an Indian context, you're saying?
In Indian context, I don't know about how foreign education system works, but generally here, the second challenge, I'll try to connect it to the first one, is the mass classrooms. Generally, whenever we walk into a classroom of 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 students.
Okay.
And if there are clubbed classes, almost 100 plus students. I think India's population plays a very important role in this. We always look into Western education systems, definitely true. but there are so many countries whose population is equal to the population of Mangalore, of Kudla, of Karnataka. There is an entire country of that
Yeah.
context. So population is one of the biggest reasons. There are so many youth, and we have not enough institutions to accommodate those many students. So most probably that might be one of the reasons for mass classrooms. I had heard this somewhere where a person said, in the present context, teachers are teachers not by choice but by chance. What do I mean by this? Someone wanted to be an IAS officer. They couldn't clear the examination. They wanted to do something else. They couldn't do it. And then they became a teacher. Someone wanted to do something A in their life. A didn't work out. They planned for B, didn't work out. Then they came and settled to be a teacher. Someone wanted to get into banking. Someone wanted to do that, this. Then they became teachers. And teaching is that comfortable job, they say, where you don't have to worry much. You come to the school college at 9, drill the same lesson that you taught the last year, the previous year, the year before it, and everyone has settled to that normality. Maybe these are the possible reasons why people are adjusting to it. But on a personal note, maybe these are some things which might settle to your question.
Maybe the fixed working time. Maybe fixed working time.
Yes.
And they're comfortable with that. If you have their children's.
Yes.
So it goes in and around the circle itself, and
Yes.
their life is going on in the same direction as well. I feel that might be the reason. I'm just asking.
Possible. There are so many teachers who want to be in the teaching profession because that adheres to their comfortness. Now, I'm on especially on the note of female teachers. If anyone who's getting married, one of the jobs that their husbands or anyone else allow them to do is teaching, because it's considered safe. Definitely yes. Okay, and secondly, the other notion, comfort on the note of holidays, especially. Like teaching, you get enough holidays. Every Sunday is a holiday. You don't have to stress yourself too much. Might be yes. That's a possible thought.
But the fact which is not really spoken about is teachers get stressed in the school a lot.
Ooh, definitely.
Could you lighten on that?
Okay, stress. Every profession has stress. There is no profession which doesn't come with stress. Or if I had to rephrase myself, nobody will pay you money without making you stressed. Okay, so teaching is also that part. The additional stress that we carry, number one, I began the conversation with this, the extreme additional work that we do apart from teaching. That is one of the major reasons. Second, syllabus in itself, I feel, sometimes becomes burdening. Now that I teach to graduation students, generally a term goes on for around 4 months. Okay, and in those 4 months, after those 4 months, 1 month goes on in examinations and almost 30 days in evaluation. That's how it goes on. In those 4 months, we are supposed to cover a plethora of topics, so much of topic to be covered.
In a very short period of
in
time.
a very short period of time. So there is a high possibility that we fail to convey the knowledge and we just give them what they need from the perspective of their examinations. That is one. And secondly, just like every other institution, every other profession has, there is that politics goes on in and around, this and that. That is very draining, especially on my part. There are so many teachers who are very optimistic, who are very positive. So to such people, all those things are also draining.
So that's the main thing which affects your creativity.
Yes, maybe
As
yes.
a teacher, it affects your creativity majorly.
Yes,
That's
it
what you're trying to
consumes
say.
my time, it consumes my energy, and it leaves me with little time and little energy to focus on my classes. So that's the context I'm trying to tell.
I could actually relate to it. So
Okay.
the thing is, me being a student, when the SEM itself is very short, when we have a very short period of time, we don't have much days, right? We have a lot of extracurriculars going on in and around us. So when there's a very short period of time, when teachers, just want to finish the syllabus off, so it's like filling the tummy
Yes.
without any taste. So
Wow.
we're not feeling the taste though.
That's philosophical. Filling the tummy without the taste. Right. Very good way of expressing, definitely.
So I could relate to that though.
I think all the students can relate to it if there are students who are
Exactly.
watching this.
Like we do discuss about it. We are like, we'll be like, let's say we have 10 to 15 days. After that, we'll have first internals.
Yes.
Soon after that, immediately we know how the days pass by, second internals.
Yes.
And we
And
don't know
then
how the days pass by,
semesters.
and it goes on in and it like, I mean, it goes like that only.
Yes, people walk in, people leave. The creativity of students and teachers is affected in this timelined process.
I feel this need to be noted.
Please,
This
please.
need
do.
to be noted by the higher authority though. They have to, I feel. Because it will be helpful for both the staff as well as the students. Yeah. So we'll come to the student perspective. You've dealt with more, plenty of students, I feel. So could you share a memorable moment where you felt like, I won in life, man, being a lecturer? Any success story of a student or something which you were part of, which you were involved in? Could you share any of the moment? Because as a student, I've been with my teachers, where we shared the success, where we shared the celebrations and all. So that was a very happy moment for me, which will stay with me for a lifetime, I feel. So any such moments with you?
Incident that I still remember is this. I try to focus on the context of morality with regard to good character of students. Unfortunately, the modern education system has taken it away from the students. Okay, one of such incidents, before the examination, internal examination, I had instructed my students that you are not supposed to copy. Like generally all the teachers say this, but they, on that personal note, giving them certain examples of this and that, I had said them, you're not supposed to copy. And luckily or unluckily, on the very next day, I was given the room invigilation of that classroom, one of the most naughtiest classroom. In the staff room, all the teachers were saying this, Yaseen sir, Ali ghokte dega, are you going there? They are very mischievous, they might copy, they might get chits, look into this and that. I went into the classroom and I still remember 1 hour examination. One of the student, he slept for the first 30 minutes. He woke up after 30 minutes and for the next 15 minutes he was just turning on and turning off the switch. Eventually I couldn't control my laughter. So I asked him, what are you doing? He said, sir, you told me na sir that I'm not supposed to copy, so I didn't copy. See, all these little instances, they have such a good positive impact on you. Though they are such tiny little stories, but it keeps us moving, keeps us going in the journey of teaching. And one last, very recently, there is one student, he's a really good artist, okay. The way he paints, you should look into it. There was a Talents Day celebration, so I suggested him, why don't you go to the stage and do a live painting? So he told me, Yaseen sir, I've never ever in my life been to the stage. I have a sense of stage fear inside me. I don't want to do it. He literally, we had a debate on this. We argued. He raised his voice and he left. After 2 days, he came back to me. Sir, I'm performing, sir. And I still remember, he went on to the stage. He performed a live painting. People gave him a standing ovation. It was so good. It was so good. And then I felt, okay, these little things, if I become the bridge of really talented students, identifying their talent, I think Zindagi, Sukun.
You kind of won in your life.
Yes,
as
satisfaction,
a
that
lecturer.
sense of satisfaction.
So when you were saying this story, I felt as if the Tare Zameen Par, Ishan Awasthi and Amir Khan.
Amir Khan, right.
Same context.
I don't know, will you ask me this question again? So in pointer of this, there are a few movies that the teachers need to definitely watch.
Could you suggest few?
Tare Zameen Par, the very first and primary one. It's not just about teachers. Any person, like all of us are teachers. We are into the profession of teaching. If you are a parent, parenting your child, you are a teacher. If you are an elder brother with sisters and brothers to you, you are a teacher. So all of us need to learn these attributes of teaching. One is Tare Zameen Par, movie suggestion. Second, there is a movie in Amazon Prime. It's called as Lunana, a yak in the classroom. A yak in the classroom. It's very good for the teachers. To those who feel teaching as a very challenging job, I think you definitely need to watch this movie. The third movie that I would suggest is Hichki. If you have watched Hichki by Rani Mukherjee. Rani Mukherjee has the habit of stammering. She stammers a lot. and how she brings in the entire context of creativity, how she overcomes that thing. There is one more called as Mas Sab. I don't know which regional language was it. Mas Sab is like you call Master Sab, but as a child calls it Mas Sab. That's the title. That's a very good movie. These are the few movie recommendations. I recommend all the teachers to watch this at least once in your life journey, because it changes your perspective of teaching.
Since we are running out of battery, we'll stop this episode for here, and inshallah we'll have a part 2 of it very soon.
Basically, I spoke a lot, so
You
you're
did.
cutting me.
Strategy, though, don't think it was a strategy.
Ji.
So, but still had an amazing time with you, Yaseen bhai. Jazakallah khair for watching the video. See you in the next video. See you in the part 2, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.